Yep. And he's going to go ahead and do our courses here. He's a really an IT professional person, so I think this is a great presenter for this. All right, Jeremy, without further ado.
Thank you, Ron. Hopefully I can make this understandable for you. As Ron said, I'm a software engineer, and some would say that that's what's required to run GSAK. It's that complicated. And it's really not. Once you, as you said, once you get going, you'll be able to do it yourself, no problem. So this is GSAK 101, an introduction to the Geocaching Swiss Army Knife. How many of you have heard of GSAK? How many of you have tried to use it but failed? Okay. How many of you have been in a class like this before? So about half of you have tried, and either you didn't try to do it yourself at home, or you failed when you tried to. So. First of all, what is GSAK? I don't know if I'm going to be using this, but GSAK, it's basically a database program for your PC. The data it holds is cache information, and this cache information comes directly from geocaching.com. So it's a way to take cache information from geocaching, put it on your PC. And once you have it on your PC, you can do all kinds of functions with it. And this is where the Swiss Army Knife moniker comes in. Because once you have this information, you can view it offline without being connected to the website. You can map out caches, see where they're located. You can filter them, come up with a smaller subset. You only want multi-caches. You can do that with GSAK. Probably what it's used for most is to take that information and send it to a GPS. You can enter your finds into GSAK, so you can write your logs in GSAK and then basically upload them to the geocaching website. You can calculate statistics, and then in the second class we'll talk about macros, which are basically a way to expand GSAK to let it do even more functions, make it more complex too. Here are the prerequisites for this course, or really these are the prerequisites for running GSAK. And they are, first of all, to do anything really useful with GSAK, you should really have a geocaching.com premium membership. So if you don't have that, you would want that. The second one is a Windows PC. GSAK is a Windows-only program. If you have something like a Mac, you'd have to use software to run GSAK as a Windows program, or there's alternatives, such as Mac caching. For Linux, there's Open Cache Manager. Does anybody fall into that camp? Does everybody have a Windows PC here? Okay. In your handouts, there is an alternative slide, so if you fall into that, take a look. So where do you get GSAK? You just go to www.gsak.net, its webpage, and it's free to download. You can install it without any restrictions, except after 21 days it becomes what they call nagware. So every time you start it, yes, do you have a question, or you're working with him? So basically every time you start it, after your 21-day period, it's going to pause and take some time. And when you try to do certain operations, it'll pause and take some time. So if you don't register, it becomes annoying to use, essentially. So it's $30 to register and get rid of those nag screens. So to keep this as simple as possible, what I'm going to do is kind of a story, or I'm calling it here a typical workflow. The story is you want to go geocaching, go on a geocaching trip. Let's say you want to go geocaching in Greenfield because you're going to be in Greenfield for a stupid class, right? You have to be here, and then maybe after this class you go have some fun. You want to do some geocaching. So in this typical workflow or story, the first thing that you're going to do if you're going to use GSAK is create a pocket query for the area, for the target area of Greenfield. And what a pocket query is essentially a file a computer file that contains cache information. And usually it's lots of cache information, 500 caches, 1,000 caches are in a Pocket Query file. And you ask the geocaching.com website to make one for you. And that's how the Pocket Query file is essentially how information goes from the website to GSAK, is in the form of a Pocket Query. And then once you have that Pocket Query and put it in GSAK, you want to view information about these possible caches. You know, take a look. Yes, you got a question?
How do you put the Pocket Query in?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
This is just a story.
Gotcha.
You want to view information about the caches, so assuming you figure out how to get it into GSAK, you want to maybe read about the cache. Maybe there's certain caches that you don't want to do because, you know, this stupid class, we're only going to have an hour or two. I want to only do easy park and grab caches or something. So you may want to filter down or select certain caches out of this huge set that came in the Pocket Query. The next step is you want to download all these caches that you want to find to your GPS. And then the fun comes in, you want to actually go out geocaching. And when you come back, the last part of the story is you want to, you know, write your logs. And GSAK has a way to help speed that up. Okay, step one of the story, creating the Pocket Query. You log on to geocaching.com. You must be a premium member, again, to create a Pocket Query. And the steps are here. I'm going to go through them quick if we didn't lose the internet. So here's the geocaching.com website. You've seen this. Your profile. Pocket Query. Uh-oh. Technical problems. Sure. Is it up and active?
Try it again. It's 4G. Try it again, Jeremy.
Okay. Otherwise, we can do this without it.
This has only got one connection on it. This one.
It should be connected. Just try refreshing that.
I will refresh. So we try click the Verizon, otherwise we'll go without it. Go password.
Write that number down.
Yep, you guys have it right there. Let me just hide the character. You guys didn't see
Thanks,
it.
John.
We have a spinning wheel. While that's spinning, we'll see. Essentially, on the website, once you go to, it's confused. There's too many wireless. Let me continue with this. Basically, on the geocaching.com website, if you go to create a new Pocket Query using these steps, you'll get a form that has all kinds of fields. And basically what you're doing is you're describing what caches you want in your Pocket Query. This home or what? The first thing you have to select is when you want that query to run. And select the current day, so you'd select Saturday. I don't want to share anything with you guys. I have a cold, so maybe I'll share that. Let's go back to it. Oh, yes. Create a new query. Here's this form that I was talking about. You give the query a name. We'll just keep new query. You select the day you want it to run, Saturday. Now below that, there's all kinds of very complicated, here's how many caches you want in the pocket query, 500. Below that, there's all kinds of complicated criteria that you can filter on. You know, you want only virtual caches, you want only small caches, you want only caches that are multi-caches. Normally, you can use GSAK to do the same kind of filtering. So normally the easiest thing to do is just go down here towards the bottom. And either put in the GC code of a cache that's close by, you know, you're going to be going for this cache here, you want the 500 around it, or just put in the zip code, the postal code of where you are. Renee, what are we, 53220? And that's it. And you hit submit, and it can take anywhere from 1 minute to 1 hour to 1 day if the server goes down at geocaching.com to create the pocket query. You will get an email in your inbox when it's done. The next step of the story is you created this pocket query. It's now either been emailed to you, it's also sitting out there on the geocaching.com server. Now you got to get it into GSAK. And GSAK recently added something to make this easier. And that's all the items under this geocaching.com access. Hopefully you can see that. We can't make the text on GSAK bigger. It's under a menu item called geocaching.com access. There's an item called download pocket queries. And it will actually go out to the geocaching server, see which pocket queries you created, and then from the screen, just select the one you want. If you ended up making multiple queries because there's a limit of how many caches you can put in there, you can select more than one here. But that's all you do, is you check the box next to the query, leave these as the defaults. First of all, here's the main screen. Currently, what do we have? Nothing. There's nothing in the database. So we selected our new query, hit OK. And now if we didn't lose the internet, it's going out and actually grabbing that for us. In the old days, they would send you the pocket query. It would come as a file in your email, and then you'd have to detach it and drag it to GSAK, and all that is of the past.
I got a question.
Yes.
When you're creating that pocket query, do you have to select the day? Do you have to generate it?
The question was, when you create the query, do you have to select the day? And yeah, it's not really clear about that, but if you don't select the day, it won't run, essentially. And it
Gotcha.
yeah. And then you get this screen that shows that we got our 500 caches that we want. And now here's the main screen. It's showing up here what's called the grid view. You probably can't read what's in the grid, but basically every cache has a row. So all 500 caches are in the grid.